We'll now call to order the special meeting of the Clay County School Board for October 19th, 2017. Thanks. Mr. Davis, would you like to do an invocation for us?
Yes, ma'am, again. Please bow your head. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you for being with us today. Thank you for being with us for the school system. That hopefully we make the decisions that act in the best interest of Clay County School District, along with our kids and the greater good for our community, Lord. Thank you for being us, for allowing us yesterday to come together and really talk about strategies as we move forward as a team. I appreciate everything that you've done for us and our families and keep us safe. Thank you, Lord. In Jesus Christ we pray, amen.
Amen. Oops, I think I got that out of order. We were supposed to do that first and then call to order. I'll now call to order the Clay County School Board special meeting of October 19, 2017. We have no citizens here, but we welcome them anyway if they'd like to come. And anybody who does come and would like to fill out a 3-minute card to speak, we would allow you to speak, hand them in, and if you want to meeting, you can. Your participation is welcomed and appreciated. So we have 2 items on our agenda today. The first one is the addendum to the appointment of Clay County School Board, CCA, and CESPA bargaining teams for the 2017-2018 school year. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion by Ms. Pola, a second by Ms. Condon. Any discussion?
Let me ask you something. I just have a legal question. If I want y'all to be involved, I want you at the executive sessions, but let me ask you this. If we put you officially on the bargaining team, then if someone wanted to talk to you or you know, who might have influence on the teachers, would that prevent them being able to talk to y'all to try to, that's,
So bargaining agents should not,
well, I mean, if it's not someone on the bargaining team, but someone who's very influential of the teachers. I was thinking about this as coming down the road, and I thought sometimes a little eyeball-to-eyeball contact kind of helps smooth things down a little bit. And I think the statutes say that you can come to the bargaining sessions anyway. And I'm just wondering if that would prevent some, you know, if someone had some questions of her or you,
Right.
If it would prevent, because it's my understanding that the bargaining team individually can't get out and talk to you or you. I mean, they don't come, if they're on the bargaining team, they don't come and talk to him about stuff or Susan about stuff. And that's just a question I was thinking about. I don't want us to cut off our nose to spite our face. I want y'all in the bargaining session. I think it's important for you to have the money and you,
Right.
because you know what's going on. But that's just a question I had. Do you understand what I'm?
I understand what you're asking, but I thought that you had said that according to statute that we couldn't allow them to be in there.
And that is what it says in the statute, the way I read it.
And that's
Mr.
why
Daggett has come up with a
She
different
wasn't allowed in the
memorandum.
last time.
But I did call out to FSBA about it, and I asked, and she said that they don't recognize this ex officio term, and that
So my understanding, we'll eliminate that.
Andrea recommended just adding you and Susan to the actual team, and she said that's how a lot of districts
Right.
just do it. You're part of the team.
I
understand where you're
Yeah.
coming from though,
I
because
just-
Randall Lee feels open to doing both of you.
Because it's my understanding, and I've checked with other attorneys too, just to confirm what Mr. Neckerman said, and they're gonna be allowed in the bargaining sessions anyway. And I wonder, are we cutting off our nose to spite our face to cut off any communication between Susan and
Right.
So let me,
I mean, I'm just
oh, so
asking,
you're
I don't-
talking about
Yeah,
the
I don't
communication
think-
between them?
No.
But I
No,
think,
Between
about-
outsiders and.
Right.
from
From the other
someone who
team.
may have
Right,
influence
okay.
over the teachers.
Yes, got it.
I think
You see
that,
where I'm
Yeah,
going?
I do.
I agree with you from that standpoint.
Yeah.
However, they are to represent us. This is our bargaining team for the school district,
Yeah.
the school board bargaining team.
Right.
And they can't communicate with us, which is the most important, to know what we want on our behalf unless they're on that list.
What?
So they, that bargaining team, so we.
But they're in executive session.
No,
They can't be in executive
Yeah,
session.
they can't.
There are two questions that I think what we're talking about, we're talking a little bit about executive session, then we're talking about negotiations. So, collective bargaining negotiations are public,
Right.
okay? The public can attend. It is really up to the agencies whether the public can ask questions back and forth and make presentations. Usually that's not welcomed at collective bargaining sessions. With respect to executive sessions, those are closed. They're private. And they, historically here, you've all had committees that have been brought to you by the administration, and this board has affirmed those committees. It is the committee and the superintendent or representative that may attend that executive session, no one else.
Statute doesn't say committee. Statute says superintendent or representative. It's very clear. It's the superintendent or representative and the 5 board members in statute. And this is where we disagree. I don't agree that you're saying his whole committee can come in to executive session. They can't. This committee is just, there are representatives who are bargaining on our behalf. The head negotiator is the representative who comes to executive session.
Yeah.
We can't have the whole committee. There is a difference. We're approving them to bargain on our behalf, but statute is very clear who can and cannot come in executive session. And it says superintendent or representative.
But Ms. Kirkus, I thought the whole reason that we brought this today was because my understanding at our last executive session was that, or before our last executive session, was that if Dr. Legutko's name was on this list, you were comfortable with her being
And
there.
that's correct. That's correct because she is the CFO of our district. She's in charge of the finances. She would be the representative for that. But that doesn't mean that the rest of the list,
Correct.
according to statute,
She doesn't have to be a member of the bargaining team.
And so I read it as,
that's where we differ.
so my understanding, and maybe I'm wrong, is the fact that we agreed to place myself and get the pseudo, whatever I was. Yeah. Whatever we were talking yesterday.
There's no.
Quasi,
there's no
yeah, they didn't listen.
Quasi-personal.
So placing me and Dr. Legutko on there, and then my understanding is that the statute allowed me to bring any person I believe to bring value to the conversation
So,
if they're on the team, but not the entire team.
What exactly does the statute say about who can attend?
the statute does say, and I'm just gonna look at it again,
Okay.
the statute, if I recall correctly, and it was in my memo, I just finalized it yesterday, wish I
Is
had
it
brought
the
it.
same as the other one?
But it does say the, let me just get it. It's good. Yes.
Yeah, I would prefer that if you just read it to us from that.
I don't mean to create a can of worms, but I was just thinking
Yeah,
about it.
I got
I was driving in here and I thought,
So,
they can come anyway.
yeah, I'll just go ahead and read it, out of 447-605. Subsection 1, all discussions between the CEO of the public employer or his or her representative and the legislative body or the public employer relative to collective bargaining, that being you, shall be closed and exempt from 286-11 Sunshine. So the interpretation of this has been very, very clear by the Attorney General's office, by district courts of appeal.
Could you read that one more time? Because somewhere in there, and it might be in a separate section that you had shared with us, it actually says something about actively participating or actively involved in, could you read that again?
Yeah, and that language comes from interpretation of this. So all discussions between the CEO of the public employer or his or her representative and the legislative body or the public employer relative to collective bargaining, that's that language, shall be closed and exempt from the provisions of 286.011. So, and I called FSBA as well. And I'm very comfortable in my interpretation of the law. And I provided a final opinion yesterday to you all. And that is, you in an executive session, the body, the school board, may meet with the CEO, superintendent, and the committee, okay? Really, the law allows the CEO of a public agency, whether it's a school district or some other agency, allows the CEO to cobble together that committee and bring with him who he wants, so long as they're on our side. That is, they are a true representative or employee of our public employer. So here, you've had a history of the superintendent bringing to you the names of committee members, and the board has historically chimed in on it. Nothing wrong with that. So that's where we were last time, and I believe we were at the point where we were going to list by name as members rather than just ex officio Dr. Legutko and the superintendent himself.
So we all agree with that, with what you're saying. Based on that, Mrs. Stuckert's question is, can the president of one of our unions or the representative of the unions
Who are
speak
not a
with,
member of the
who are not on the
bargaining
bargaining team, speak with the superintendent or Dr. Legutko once they're actually labeled to the team? They're not on the bargaining team, but they do represent as
But
the
if we put
CEO
these
of that.
two on the bargaining team, my question is can they then sit and talk about things?
Yeah. What they can do, okay, here's what they can't do. They can't be a conduit, whether it's the president of the union or someone else. They can't be a conduit of their bargaining committee. They can't act like a de facto bargaining agent.
I'm not talking about being a conduit, I'm talking about just to sit down and talk about it, general,
There's nothing wrong with that.
that they,
As long as we have a conversation about factual information.
right.
Sure, and
And
there-
that's what I was wondering, is would they be prevented to sit down and talk to them if they are officially on the bargaining team?
You just changed it, because before you, if they're officially on the
If
bargaining
these two are
Yeah.
officially on the bargaining.
But
Yeah.
we
And I
can't,
just, it's just came to me as I was driving down the road this morning, I thought, are we doing what we should be doing? And I'm just opening it up for conversation, that y'all may just think I'm,
No, I
No,
I
that's a good
get, I
point.
understand
None
where
of
you're
us
coming
had thought
from.
of it, but
May I ask
I
you a
like
question? What-
smooth stuff.
Just from historical perspective, what have we done in the past? Have they been, has the superintendent been in the meetings in the past?
Yes,
Has the CFO been in meetings in the past?
yes.
not in executive session, but the CFO has been in
Bargaining.
bargaining sessions,
what about way back before Dr.
George
Legutko,
Copeland.
when we had Dr.
George
Copeland?
Copeland.
He didn't come to executive session, not since I've been on the board.
What about you, Carol?
Oh, God,
Okay, so here's my contention.
Not in executive session, never.
If a union representative is meeting with Mr. Davis or Dr. Legutko, regardless of them being on the team, isn't it, while bargaining is ongoing, those topics should be off the table to discuss anyway, right?
My understanding is that we can speak to factual information that was presented at the table during bargaining. Anything that goes beyond the factual information that was articulated could very well be in violation.
I just feel like
Right.
you're walking a tight
Yeah,
line. that
and
you
from
should
my
avoid.
side of it, I don't aspire to put this district in a situation where, that we feel that we're doing something unethical and unprofessional. But to Ms. Stutter's point, I do believe that there could be conversations that could be beneficial to it.
Yeah.
That's where I'm
Yeah.
going,
Mhm.
because my only goal is for us to have
Yeah.
smooth negotiations and it and not wind up at impasse or whatever. You don't wanna live through impasse.
Or with any legal
We did.
ramifications, they've done it.
Well,
I was on
there's
the other
no-
side.
You know-
There's nothing keeping either of you from having a conversation with a person as long as it's not about things
Right.
pertaining to bargaining, which
Yeah,
that was.
there
that
is
was-
something
now.
wrong, there is something wrong with essentially what comes down to private bargaining.
Right.
So this is not unusual. A couple of mayors ago in the city of Jacksonville, the mayor was dinged, if you will, in having these private conversations with an influential person. Okay, and the guidance is, and typically is, collective bargaining negotiations are totally public.
Right.
Okay? And it makes sense, I'd certainly feel much more comfortable to limit conversations about collective bargaining
Right.
to the public collective bargaining session. What I absolutely don't want, I want to make very, very clear, is that regardless of whether the influential person is a member of the employees' committee, the bargaining committee,
Now, who are you talking about now? Them or the other person?
no, the union, okay?
The other-
Regardless, if this person is on the bargaining committee of the employee, i.e. the union,
They're not.
okay. There have been plenty of cases where courts have found, well, you may not have been a committee member, but really what you ended up doing
Right.
was you bargained privately.
Right. It's a
That is wrong,
technicality
that's a
whether they're on
violation
the
of
list or not.
447.
I think it, like you said, it's one for the timeline.
It
I just
is.
wanted
It
to throw it out.
And it
Yeah.
doesn't
And
matter
give
if
you
they're on the
food for
list or
thought.
not.
Well, and I think that really it would be conversations with Dr. Legutko because Mr. Davis has already been participating with us in our executive sessions. He's privy to our conversations,
And he's not gonna reveal that to anybody.
right, and we know already, that he has pretty frequent conversations with influential people in both of our bargaining units. So I really think it would be Dr. Legutko, and I have the utmost confidence in her that
Oh,
she's gonna
yeah,
represent us,
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
and only stick to those facts. I'm comfortable with it. I understand what you're saying, and I understand it would be really because we have recognized that ex officio title that no one else ever really has.
I
so.
know.
Get a business card out on
You know, the law makes it, the law makes it sufficiently difficult to do any bargaining outside of the public, okay? So,
I wish the law was a little more.
Well, apparently other
explicit, so
districts
it's
are
not
doing it this way. Do
confusing.
you know how many districts have their superintendent and CFO on their bargaining teams? When you spoke with Andrew,
I
did you give
really-
any indication of how many?
no, I
How many
didn't
most,
ask.
Yeah,
I think that it is most.
that's what she.
Yeah, it is unusual to have a superintendent who completely delegates responsibility to another, group of folks.
Well, and the reason I ask this is not, it's basically to offer protection for these two.
Yeah.
So what's everybody comfortable
That's a
with?
good point.
I mean, I'll go along with whatever
We
majority.
can
wants.
I
leave
feel,
it as
I
is,
feel
we can
comfortable
change it,
with putting them on and trusting their professional standards and talking with outsiders as well. I mean, we've all been approached
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
questions, and I've, dodged, I mean, you
Flat out
tactfully
say,
dodge
and
them.
talk it. Yeah.
You tactfully dodge them and just, then I think they're pretty,
Well, I
pretty
think
good at
it's
it as well.
fair to just request that whoever is approaching you respect the integrity of bargaining
Yeah.
for what it's meant to be.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll
So,
send
and
them mine.
that's how
Yes.
that's how I would confront it, and.
Well, somebody else speak to this
I
guy.
just wanted to throw it out.
I appreciate it, that's,
Honestly.
the more.
I always think
Sorry.
so.
You certainly
can't
gave us
speak to you.
something to think about.
I can't speak to you, Macaulay.
Well, we've been so intent on having her in the meeting and making certain that everything was legally appropriate,
He's
that
the guy.
we weren't
Right.
looking at the other side, but so I'm glad you
And
brought
I
it
Either
up.
way, it's fine, I just wanted to throw it out for discussion because it, I always think, what if?
And I do think it's important to have Susan there, even though I'm the one that brought up the issue of it, go about it the right way, but we certainly do need to have, and I actually think going to the collective bargaining sessions and really present the money in the beginning, and then maybe follow up again or something, I don't know, is a good thing to show, where we're at and everything, instead of, them just hearing it from Mr. Brodsky.
I just want everybody to be protected.
Is there any
That's all I care about.
further discussion before we move on and vote on it? All right, I have a motion by Mrs. Bola, second by Ms. Condon. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Mrs. Bush, are we supposed to be voting on here? Because it looks like a different screen to me today.
Well,
I don't
mine
have a
is.
voting screen like Mrs. Stutter does. I don't.
Mine's not coming up to the
I do
Well,
have it,
I have the
and
same
I can't
as,
get it to let me vote.
I don't have a voting screen.
Well, I
Oh,
voted.
there
All right,
you
I
go.
think
Does it
Mine's
ever
working.
end?
Four votes have come through.
Technology.
Everywhere I
Put me
go.
down as a yes.
Mine's
vote
forward.
came
Jordan asked the other day,
Mary
is it
Kay.
every day? It's every day.
I voted.
maybe because I got in there before.
I
she
voted.
voted it out.
Yeah. For what?
I don't have the screen. We're not gonna play games, we're gonna move
Oh.
on. So our next item is, our next item is the 2017-18 assessment calendar. I will entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Studdard, a second by Ms. Condon. Any discussion on the assessment calendar?
I still would like, can you talk a little bit more, maybe Dr. McCauley, Mr. McCauley will tell us about I'm still not completely comfortable with that we're ready, and I'll give you an example why. And it's personal.
Yes.
And it's not, I'm only using my child as an example because he's one of 35,000. But, he's doing Achieve in his English class.
Okay.
They have to go to a lab to do it. They're only, because we had a shortened, with the hurricane, we had a shortened first grading period. There are only 9 assignments graded in the whole class.
Right.
At ninth grade, this is 9th grade honors English. 2 of those assignments were Achieve assignments. He only finished half of them, did not have the opportunity to finish both of them, so he got a 50 on both of them
Right.
and ended up with an 89B for the
Right.
term in the class. That's my concern, is that, and I'm not
No,
saying,
no, that's
hey, we had to come to Jesus at home
Yeah.
about how to go
Yeah.
after school. And-
Well,
But my concern is are we hurting our kids by not being completely ready? And I know y'all talked about the 6 computers. Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit more about
yeah,
that?
so, it's unfortunate that that instructor evaluated a kid when they didn't finish the product. They didn't finish an assignment within the product if they didn't give them sufficient time within the class. The other thing is these products are accessible to kids before, during, after school, and at home, so they can interact with them as often in the accessibility they have within their neighborhood, their community, their house. So if they don't finish something, we should be encouraging them to continue that with it before, during, after
Okay,
school.
so they can log in from a different
Yes,
computer?
I did, yes.
Okay.
Their login stays the same. The reason I know that is because I had Caitlin, 6th grader, my daughter, and then her friend were over at the house on Monday evening, and we had two computers. They were working on civics, and they transitioned to pulling some articles they were assigned in Achieve, and they were working on it in the evening, which is beautiful. I started programming. Do you like it? Yeah. I got kids in the neighborhood. And they ring my doorbell. Hey, Mr. Superintendent, cancel school. Do you like Achieve? So it's unfortunate. So he shouldn't have suffered half of that
Okay.
at all.
No, but that's good. So
Yeah.
we'll have
And-
another conversation, but I think.
Yeah, the Keystone is on me. Jeremy Bunkley and Macaulay have been ready to go to Keystone to drop off computers in the last week. Me being out and having taken out at the end of last week, I didn't get a chance to go there. We are now scheduled to try to go beginning of next week and release it. And the reason we haven't done it is because we want to highlight some work in communications and invite you as well to talk about what we're doing through the media about how we're moving 6,200 Chromebooks, how we're moving to wireless updates to all of our schools and becoming more accessible. So they're ready to go. The hold's on me, but we'll
But
get
we
it
are
done.
ready from a technology
Yeah,
standpoint.
I-
Y'all feel comfortable. That was
I
what
can tell you
wanted.
right now is that over 95 to 97% have completed all the baseline assessment.
Yeah, in terms of students also,
Yeah.
and to the chair, I think Ms. Condon makes a good point and
Yeah, that's
and a good
fair.
concern. Have we finished the Wi-Fi project?
Not yet. We have, I think, 4 or 5 more schools.
And can you, Nathan, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Can you explain kind of what we have done with that project?
So with the access points that came in, we have been putting an access point in every classroom at every school. I would say we're 85 to maybe 90% complete on them. We actually just knocked out, yesterday was Montclair Elementary and Orange Park Elementary. I don't remember the schedule off the
No,
top
it's
of my
okay,
head.
no
I'll have to
worries.
look at it,
That's
but,
awesome.
And then, like you said, we're waiting on the go for Keystones. We've been ready to pounce,
Yeah.
knock it out, get this done, and move on to the next one. But
Yeah.
all the Chromebooks have been out and delivered from that 6,200
Yeah.
order.
This
Oh, they have
this
been
team
doing
has
it.
done unbelievable work in a short period of time.
They're working
It's
9, 10
you
o'clock
know,
at
when we
night.
talk about accessibility with wireless and computers, the plan was 2020 completion, and these guys did it in months. So my hats off to you
What's
and your
our
team.
ratio, tablet to student?
We have to go and look. It varies by school. We have, as you know, some are concept schools that did 1-to-1, and we're trying to get it down where it's under 1-to-3 per school. We have ways to go with that.
We're pretty close to 1 to 3. We will
Yeah.
be at the end of this year.
Into this year, next year brings on the part where we're down to the 1-to-2s and some are 1-to-1. So it's an aggressive plan that we know that probably next year we're closer to that 1-to-1 than we ever have been.
And just for the board's benefit, I think Ms. Gilhouse's question is also.
This is valid.
When we say 1-to-1, we're not talking a computer in every student's hand. What we're saying is access to devices during the school day for instruction and interaction for every
Yeah.
kid. So when they need to be engaged in something, they can be. It'd be awesome to have one in everybody's hand, but that,
Sometimes that makes sense.
from planning
Yeah.
purposes, that almost doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So
Instructionally.
we will be very, very
Right.
careful.
And I sent an email last night.
Long email.
It was a long email, but some things weigh on my heart, and I'm sorry if they're extensive and lengthy, but it spoke to that very point, the fact of, hey, you know what, this is a implementation year, transition as you need to, implement it as you need to, no one's gonna be big brother, and reap the benefits of it.
And I already got emails from teachers who read it last night, and were very happy
Yes, ma'am.
with some of what they read. I mean,
Yes, ma'am, I appreciate it. I got a lot
certain
too.
points that they were very concerned about, so.
Yep.
I
Thank you.
appreciate that as well. My concern though is, and kind of in line with what Betsy was talking about, that, what's the penalty to students if this doesn't, it is an implementation year.
Right.
What kind of weight are we putting on these assessments when it comes to kids' grades, passing,
Yeah,
failing, all that?
at the end of the day, the diagnostics are not assessments that are to be graded. It's only to inform the instructional process. Now, if someone is assigning articles and tasks, such as at the secondary level, which is very common, because it does, if I'm reading about the Civil War, then I can go and I can assign articles that are attached to that to achieve, because they're high, rich in complexity. And it gives them a formulated number of questions that scaffold every question for the learner, then they may give some value of accountability to that to make sure that they are improving comprehension. But it should be relevant to how much time they have on task. Every learner is different. It shouldn't be, hey, you gotta get it done in this, we got 20 minutes of lab, you got 20 minutes to get this assignment done. No one should be extended that type of mentality to kids. Everyone learns at their own pace. If they don't get it done within that completion of the time, which we believe is sufficient time, then they should either roll over or they should be extended in the evening.
Homework. And that's
Yes, ma'am.
so that leads me to my next thing. We've had this conversation as well, but I really think a good advertising campaign
Yeah,
would help.
sure.
From the teacher aspect and from the
Yeah.
parent aspect
I
of,
agree.
just a PR.
Right.
Other than advertising.
That's a
But
good way of
more
saying it.
PR
though.
of
Sure.
saying, this is not, we're not testing your kid every,
Right.
this truly is diagnostic to lead
Yeah,
to
inform.
instruction and
That's
to-
correct.
and we
And-
thought we had those definitions now on our
And-
calendar, and I like that a lot. I think really to communicate, to
Yes,
say,
It's fair.
as a district, if
Hey,
you
this
have
is what it's
this,
for.
it needs to be homework, it needs to be
Yeah.
part of your, and if you don't have access at home,
Yeah.
see your principal or whatever, and then we can deal with that on a case by
We
case
can build an
basis.
extended time, whether, I mean, we got so many devices now that if they feel that they wanna have interaction before school or during an elective class, so they may have time that a teacher approves, or maybe during lunch, or whether an aide, whatever it may be, or they're waiting for someone to pick them up, let's use it and rock and roll on it.
I think that would be.
Yeah, yes, ma'am,
Just-
let's think it's
just
fair.
started it.
There you go.
And just communicate it with Nicole.
Are
and get it
Achieve and
going.
iReady accessible on the
idea.
One Clay app?
Ooh, I have to ask that question.
Say
I
that
don't
again,
know the
could you
Are
repeat the
Achieve
question?
and iReady accessible from the One Clay app?
I believe they are, aren't they?
I wanna say yes, but I'm not
I'll tell you
100%
in
sure.
just a
So I
moment.
think
Yeah,
how they would
text it.
get to it is going, have
Either
you ever
chat.
gone in
Kids-
through the staff portal?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
portal's
So the kids
accessibility.
can go in through the student portal.
Yeah, the student portal, I do know that they're there and accessible. I just gotta figure out if it's accessible to the app.
I think,
Now, I don't know that they'll work like on a phone. I mean, they're pretty heavy.
right.
I see Madison do it.
I think
Really?
Yeah.
part of
But you're right,
relieving
it's
some of the angst is just helping families get familiar with it.
Yep.
So the more
Yep.
accessibility you can get, the
Sure.
better. And I think also consistent messaging across the district to teachers about, please don't put any more weight on this exam than what
Sure.
intend to use it for.
Absolutely.
Because I think part of the angst that parents feel and students too is it's not just about assessment so much as it is about high stakes assessment.
Right,
And so if we're making it clear that this is not about that, this is informative and it's part of making sure your child gets the best
Sure.
they can out of this program, I
Yeah.
think that would
Sure.
be a useful message.
I agree.
And I think it is important that we make sure that that's what's being implemented in the classroom.
And that involves the communication to the teachers.
Exactly.
And I know that we trust the administration to filter down to the teachers, but if there's more, like what you sent last night, or yesterday, whenever you
Yes,
sent
ma'am.
it, to really specifically say, I mean, there were bold parts of that said, you know, this is not, or this should be, and that really relieves some pressure on the
Yes, ma'am.
teachers, because the teachers inherently
Right.
want to make this successful.
Yes,
They
ma'am.
want
Oh,
this
yeah.
to
I
work.
mean,
And it's-
coming to work,
it's
I
like-
probably had 20
it's just
emails
more
that talked
pressure,
about, thank
yeah.
you, this is working, and LOIs also, I mean, it's just, they just wanna find time. And you
It's-
just gotta have time to
part of
interact
their
with it,
nature.
so it's just, time will, we will get better. And this, understand this as an organization, this is the worst we will ever be using this. We're gonna get better every single day. And once we get over this part of, and we get better as a district supporting teachers and parents and students, we will see the benefit of it.
And I know you can't answer this because things change in a year,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
there's part of me that wants to say, no new initiatives
Nothing.
next year.
I have nothing.
Let this roll for a year,
you
let
know.
us be able to, let the teachers and the students be able
as-
to absorb it and understand it.
Right, and as a leader of the organization, you know, I mean, we have science adoption coming up. That's the only kind of initiative that we forecast that we will have to put a number of professional development. Right now, I don't forecast anything changing next year other than us just diving deeper into our work with the resources that we have.
That would be wonderful. That would be a unique year for this county.
Yep, so,
Is there any further discussion?
Just one more point that I wanted to talk about,
Yes, ma'am.
the number of minutes designated to assessment,
okay,
especially as, I know it's different when it's the state mandated, but as far as what we're requiring,
right,
just clarity, that is what's allowed, it's not what's required, correct?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
Because I know the state requires you to sit,
yeah,
and for that
We-
whole, you know.
yes, ma'am, we just put a
90
window
minutes.
on it, and in that, if it's a 90-minute window and they get done in 45 minutes, then we tip our hats and we move forward. Most of this, and to be honest with you, iReady and Achieve will not be done at whole group scale. It will be done once we have the devices in the school. It's just gonna be part of the instructional rotation. So when a kid goes to rotation, they're gonna be working on it, and they may take 2 days in their 20-minute rotation to finish it. So it's not timeout, we're testing, we're blocking the whole school off.
That's huge.
Yeah, I mean,
That
that's,
is
this is one of the reasons, because it's
That
just
needs to
cycling in the instructional process. It's not, oh, we're gonna shut the school down, we're gonna test.
Right.
Because
We're
that,
not
I
doing
think
that.
that was what the concern that when I
That's the
had the
stigma that
teachers.
testing
Yeah.
has.
Yeah, the teachers that contacted me that were talking about kids being pulled out of
Right.
classes, that's more for the
Yes,
state
ma'am.
assessments.
Right. Now, you were right originally when you said that we may not be ready. Now, in the baseline, there could have been some, hey, let's go to the lab and get it done.
Okay.
But once we get the Chromebooks in hands, then that rotation takes place now. We're getting to a better spot where it's just gonna be rotations, you know. So what we did on this was eliminated the mid-years for iReady in K3 and mathematics K8. Teachers can use it if they want to use it, which would be great to use it for Inform. That's on them because they have time and when they want to use it. There's no window. We removed that, and then we removed the ELA 6 through 10 because we haven't achieved mid-year. It gives us some of the same information, and if teachers continue they're working hard to teach standards, it's all on this to sell on this. The only thing though is that they wanted to see the SAT 10 in grades 1 and 2. That's per the CAS committee. So we eliminated it, but we had to add more back on K1 and 2. We had it down 360, but the CAS committee, they wanted that to be an option as well. So it's, you know, what they want. Originally, they were, when we met the day, they were okay with what was presented, but I just went to the CAS meeting a minute ago, and they were talking about adding something else. I'm going, oh no, don't do it. Don't do it. I said, you should have taken the one I had the first year, added on top of what I had. But you know what? If that's what they feel they want to have for an assessment, then I want to accommodate teachers to have access.
I know at the beginning of the year when we first implemented the social studies adoption,
Yes,
there
ma'am.
was the problem of not having enough Chromebooks, not
Right.
having enough computers.
Sure.
So there were a number of junior highs and high schools that
Right,
had
I'm
the
worried
sort
about
of the
instructions.
shutdown.
Yeah.
Right.
And, okay,
Yeah.
we have to go test and come back, because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was getting that response. And with your concern about the K through 2, I called some of the kindergarten teachers that I know at different schools, and it was interesting because they do implement it differently.
Yeah.
And some said, you know what, we got it done, it was this, it was that, but then they also shared with me, you know, there's continuous assessment obviously with kindergarten. And they just came up with their first quarter report card. And sitting with a kindergartner and making certain that they know counting, that they know their numbers up through 10, that they know their colors, that they know, they have to assess them for each of those as well. And it's just time consuming, but they do it. And it's amazing, the classroom management. But they also know how to use parents that come in and help. And so I felt better about it after talking with some of the teachers and saying, is this a reality? And truly, I mean, I shared with them that 45-minute business about, you know, you must have this. Back off a little bit on that and make it a lot easier. So.
So Mr. McCauley did some digging. Thank you very much, Professor. And they are all accessible through the app, student app.
Well, if there's no further discussion, anything else? Ms. Condon, anything? No?
Thank you for the work you did.
Yeah.
No,
For
thank
taking the
you.
time.
No,
I
listen.
appreciate that you.
Thank you. I appreciate the feedback, and I get it. I get it. So.
We appreciate that you, and your staff, we know a lot of work went into it, your CAS meetings, and I know you had many meetings between our last one and today to get this right, and so I'm glad that we were able to come to reach an agreement.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so I had a motion by Mrs. Studdard, a second by Ms. Condon. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank each of you.
We have no presentation from the audience. Mr. Superintendent, did you have any comment?
Yes, ma'am. I have a 20-slide PowerPoint.
Okay, here we go, guys. To the
I
left,
know, right? Yeah, right.
to the right.
I'm good. I appreciate it. So, thank you.
Any school board requests, school board comments?
I don't know.
All right, hearing none, meeting is adjourned.